So I think I stole this from, like I said, the wiki that had all the commands written out. It had all the, it had, it. I can't remember if it did or if I made this. It was so long ago, but somewhere I made this. I got it from somewhere, whatever it was. Um, and just made it easy to see. Okay, here's all the commands I need. Here's what each one does, and that's kind of almost like the pseudocode for how this game should work. So these commands should work in every room. Look something, go somewhere, get dagger, get ye, take ye, get. Those are all the same, right? All these things. Um, dance, and then each room has special right cases for that. I was actually wondering, like, can you just get dagger anywhere? Is that? I think that's a joke on an old game. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so yeah, that works. And it adds, oh yeah, there's no usable infinitely. So it doesn't actually show your score anywhere while you're playing. So you don't really know like if the things you're doing, I mean, based on, the tone of the phrase, whether or not you're actually getting like points for it or not, but it is keeping track of points. um so yeah, and then each room just has, I mean, they're so tiny. Like, so here's the main room. You can look scroll, you can look flask, get scroll, you can get it again and it says something else. That's actually an interesting, this will be an interesting part to solve, right? So if we have some config that has the available actions and available objects or something, and we need to define more than one action per item, how is that going to look? So we're going to have like an array that we pop, we like the first time we do this and then we pop it off. And then if there's only one left, you do it forever. I don't know. So yeah, something to think about. Because a lot of these, I mean, most of them you can do forever and ever. You can just keep saying, look flask, right? You can do, but like getting a thing, sometimes it does a joke if you try it twice. Yeah, like this one, get flask the first 2 times, and then if you try it the 3rd time, it actually works. And then I think you die. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So good. And then room management. That's going to be something got to think about. So like, I'll show you how I did it in the C version. It was very very procedural, but it'd be really fun if the game knew where the player was, and then just based on its location, knew all the bits about that room. So like, it wasn't a huge, like I'll show you. It won't be like this, where there's just a giant conditional here. So, we're in main room. I think I say go. Let's see. So in main room, all we have is just a huge. Well, I didn't know how to like normalize the string apparently, so I had to check each casing. Weird. I don't know why dying and dancing was turned off. We should add that back. But yeah, so it's like if go and then if a valid direction. Otherwise, there's a go error. Cool. Look for the valid things you can look. So this is only in main room, right? So if you try to look anything else, it's going to look error. And then get. Okay, so I had a little counter for trying to get the scroll. So if you had it 0 times, if you had it 1 time, you get minus a score. Cool. So yeah, so this is just like one big like conditional. And then if you die, we show the splash screen again. Okay. And then where? Oh, I didn't see where I changed rooms. Oh yeah. So here's we did that. So at the beginning. So we just split out to the whole different case and went to North Room instead. But yeah, more of the same, right? So each room has some check. I think this was like, where am I at? I think that's what I used this for. Where did North Room playing? I don't think it actually. Okay. Oh, interesting. So for my North Room, I was in a loop while still playing this. Keep checking for these commands. That's how that works. Yeah, because this okay, it's all coming back. It's all coming back. So yeah, so we were doing another do while. So anytime you entered the North Room, you got the North Room description, you got your input checker, and then the listener for the input. Got it. Okay. But yeah, so you can see this like, if you want to add an action or add an item, not super great, not a really nice. Oh, Caleb's here. I don't remember why that was so hard to do. In every other language, you could downcase it or upcase it, whatever, and just check the one. So, not as experienced me was like, well, clearly you have to check every single one. I mean, that's all you can do. And then I guess, when it came to the actual directions, I just gave up. It was like, well, you probably typed all caps, no caps, or you were doing one. Otherwise, it'll just be an error. So we should fix that. We'll make it a little bit more resilient. I mean, that's probably the case because I don't think it's built into C at all. Yeah. I don't want to look. It'll be embarrassing me trying to find it. So, I'm going to assume that it wasn't there and that was why. And then what do we got? So some counters. I'm just trying to poke and see like what stuff, if there was anything, unique that I had to do to get it to work. Just maybe that might help influence the new design. We don't need that. The dentist room. Okay. Yeah, more of the same, right? Look, a dentist, a give. Oh, interesting. What? Wait. How does that work? Don't know what I was doing there. I think it's going to fall through. Maybe I didn't know how to handle the case where the give would have other nested if else's. That seems, yeah. Whoopsies. Don't look. Again, 11 years ago. Man, what code were you writing 11 years ago, right? I mean, the code I'm embarrassed by the code I wrote yesterday, or even right now. I'm probably will be. So, 11 years. Okay, so each error was, they made it simple, or thank you, Homestar Runner, made it simple for us. Caleb, are you old enough to know what Homestar Runner is? He's got there's like a 5-second delay. Oh, I'll come back. So we have our whole script. We have the whole. Okay, good. Whew. There are some that it's surprising how it makes me feel very old when there's definitely people at work who don't know what Homestar Runner is, and I'm like, oh man. So, how do we start this? Like, what do we even do? Oh, that's probably really horrible for streamers to watch. I should just use tabs. So I was thinking, I want to do it in Ruby because then I won't struggle hopefully as much with the syntax, and we can just focus on the design of the game, and then and I think talking to standard in on the command line is pretty easy. So we'll go there, and then maybe if yes, Trogdor. I have the game. I have the board game, which I think I've only played a couple of times, but I did buy the board game, and it's super fun. I think maybe once we get the framework all set up, we can explore other languages or something fun. Maybe like Go. I think I said that already. Oh yeah. If I had to, I need to redeem myself for one thing before I move on though. Last week, first I said that I don't know where my comma key is on my keyboard. So if you watch that stream and you're like, what in the world? Let me show you why. I don't know if I can. I have no printed keycaps, so my keyboard is unprinted, and I don't touch type completely properly. So I lose track of where I'm at sometimes. And so, yeah, that's why I definitely know where it is. I miss it. I'm off by one. So that happens. And then the second thing, I had a really hard time with rubies, each with object. And I made, is it in, are we still in here? Yes. Okay. I'm going to show you. So here was my problem. Well, the first problem was that the exorcism.org little app that I was using to do my fun. This guy. Oh, did not mean the new tab, but cool. So this doesn't have like a linter built in. It does have a little bit, but it like won't tell you. Well, it didn't tell me this. That's for sure. It didn't tell me this little nugget. The argument to each with object cannot be immutable. So if you're making a sum, if you want to use each with object to iterate over something and create a sum out of it, start to count, you can't, because it doesn't work. And so what was boggling my mind was I've definitely mutated the accumulator and it works. And so I was going crazy. And I think I can just run. Yeah. So like the each with object sum, it just doesn't work. It just starts at 0. You can't, even if you try to add it, even if you return it, even if you make a new one, I think even if you do like res, oh my gosh. Also, you get to watch me struggle with my new Vim navigation that I'm trying to get used to. I mapped all my arrow keys to HJKL so that I'll get used to navigating in Vim. So that's painful. So you get to watch that too. Yeah. So even if you reset it, you return it, you can't. It just doesn't work. So if you want to do that, you need to use inject. And you can see it works with an array because an array is mutable. And so we get all the indexes added, but each with index inject. So if you still need access to where you're at in the array and you want to do a sum, use inject, because now, look at it. It works. So you can actually take the accumulator, add the index, and it does the right thing. And then it works the same on an array too. So, that was a little, I was stumped on. I could not figure out why this wasn't working. And there was no squiggly telling me why. So that was just me not knowing the each with object API. Now it's going to be forever logged away. Struggle with it enough. So there's that. That was the other thing. I felt bad about that. I was like, this has to work. So we need to make a new project. Should we think about how we should, let's make it, well, okay. I'm sorry. I keep doing like Windows stuff and that's probably like really jarring. Let me close this. Got to get used to only doing tab things. Okay. So let's make a dir, and what should we call it? It's not it is thy dungeon, man, but it's just going to be, I'm just going to call it like dungeon crawler, dungeon, the mic also. I don't know why I'm even thinking it. It's like throwing me off where I am in space because I can't in my periph see where I'm at. So let's cd. Oh, I called it dungeon crawler. Okay, so let's code that guy. So we have nothing in here. Great. Before we just start like going, I think it'd be useful to think about how are we going to do this? What are we doing here? Because the C++ version it was just one big right? It was like a main function with just a big old conditionals and just some helper functions that defined the rooms. And each room had embedded in it all of the conditions for the things you could get and everything. And though that works, I don't think it's the best, right? If let's look at, I mean, like, what would it take? You know, like I want to add an item, and where like depending on how I ordered, right? So like, okay, where did I put the like look stuff? Okay, so here's like the look stuff. Okay, cool. So if I want to add an item, I got to add it to the look. So I add look here, and then I add a condition. If all the string normalizing wasn't in here, it'd look a lot simpler than this is. But cool. But then you got to add it to the take. So is there a take in here? Or is there a get? Right. So I got to go find. Okay, there's no good. Yeah. Anyway, makes it not very easy because there are multiple things you can do with an item. Especially if it wasn't this simple of a game, right? If you could, if you could throw it, if you could kick it, if you could, right, all the actions that you could do with an item. My earphone. It makes it very error prone because you're not going to know. You're probably not going to remember all the places you need to add it. I mean, here's look, and then all the special cases too, right? So we need a better framework to handle. Oh, and here's even a look around or a look whether or not you have the trinket. So that's interesting too. So some items affect the looking of another item. So we're going to have to handle that too. So yeah, we're definitely not going to get to the end here. I think all I'd wanted to have by the end of the next couple hours is an idea and maybe start the writing of how this framework should work. And then go from there and see how hard it is to add. So like, I think a game exists for sure, right? We have, or a dungeon, maybe we call it dungeon crawler. I'm just going to call it a game for easy, in case I change my mind, because it might not be a dungeon, right? You could be like Zork. I mean, is that a dungeon where you're just in a house and walking around? So it doesn't have to be a dungeon, but I think these games are normally called dungeon crawlers. 24, 36. Let's fuss over the font size for a little too long. That'll be fun. So probably has a player. Do we have rooms? Do you think so? This is going to be like very pseudo. Oh, they don't group. Of course they don't. Why? I gotta like drag both. Okay. So like. Oh, that's maybe Freeform is the wrong app to use for this. There's probably like a UML diagram that I should be using, but I hated UML in school. I don't know. I don't know if I need that level of detail here. I'm just trying to get like broad strokes out. So like a room, who keeps track? So the thing that I just want to like think about, and I probably usually do this in my head as I'm going, which can lend itself to reworking more than I should. Right. So like a game, I can do these fun things. A game has a player, and I can do a game has a room, and I can drag again, whatever this is. I don't know. Does the room have items? Does the game have items? Oh, that's fun. I just double clicked. That's what I should have done. So yeah, so the player, does the game have a score? Does the player have a score? If you die, we reinitialize a player. When a player starts, it has 0, so the player can keep track of his own score. That seems reasonable. Stuff like that, right? Like where sometimes the details don't matter until later. Sometimes it does define, like if these were going to be columns in a database, this could really matter. Like I'm defining the schema for, for the, oops, it's bugging me that it's not all the way out. So sometimes it makes sense to think about this stuff just a little bit ahead of time. And even while you're prototyping, you can, database migrations are easy to run, at least in Rails. And so if that's what, don't let that hold you back. If, you can change it, but sometimes it's easier just to delete that than it is to run a migration. So I would think the room would have its items. It would know what items it has, and it would probably know no, it wouldn't. There might be special commands. So we'll say each room has maybe some commands that get added on top of the general commands, because I think I defined that in that README. So like the game knows about general commands, right? It knows about like help. It knows which ones are valid. If you if you have a syntax error at the base level of the game, right? You type help, HLEP, like the game will know that that's an error. The room doesn't need to know, unless that it's a special command in the room. Then it might work or something. So that would be a nice pattern of the room adding on to general commands. What else? The player should keep track of his own items too, right? Once he grabs one, okay. I like this over here. That was nice. And then it moves it over for me. Thank you. Blunk. So the player has his own items. I think an item, this would be maybe an item. And so maybe the game, maybe this is down here. There's probably a keyboard shortcut to do this, but we'll learn it. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay. Item. It's probably just item. And then, let's drag a little shrink. Love it. I'm gonna make arrows. I want them to have arrows. I think it's prettier. And you can do fun stuff. Look at, you can make it curvy or blocky, or you can just grab the middle and kind of give it a little bend. That's the wrong way, guys. What? I must have dragged the wrong direction. Okay. Ooh, look at, it's looking profesh. So an item probably has a description. Description. Yep, thank you. When you get an item, you get a score, I think. I think that's how, usually when you get an item, it like bumps your score a little bit. So I think the item could define a score. Or its value, right? Maybe, yeah. It has a score that gets added to the player score when you get it. Oh, that's interesting. Because if you do it this way, you'll get rewards for either certain commands that you do, or you could just sum all the scores of your items. What? And then you would know what your score is. So you don't have to deprecate the score of the item or turn it to 0. You can just count all the items that I have. Ooh, I like that. What else? We got rooms, we got commands, we got an item. I mean, let's go look at our walkthrough here. We got commands. Like dancing doesn't give you any special points. So there could be commands that also give you points. I mean, like this, that's interesting. I guess you have it and you could, so like if this works infinitely, technically, if you keep typing get dagger, it'll just keep adding daggers to your items list. And then we just, as we sum them all up, we're just like, yep, you got 1,000,000 daggers. You did it. what actions scroll is interesting because when you get it, you read it, and then it disappears. So then you have the scroll, but it's not actually in. It still adds 2 points, but then it's not actually usable. So that one needs a special flag on it, maybe. So it's in your inventory but hidden or something. Because if you if we did make a command that was like items and it showed what you had, that'd be kind of fun actually. Even though the game doesn't do that, right? It definitely doesn't. Yeah, I can get items. I don't know what I mean, they might have said put stuff. They might have put stuff that wasn't in the wiki. I don't know. This is funny. So how would we do that? There's a scroll. Maybe there's just 2 scrolls in the room. Is this the main room? Oh yeah. So in the main room, there's a scroll listed as an item. I had this so much better before. There's a scroll listed as an item, and there's just 2. And the first one gives you 2 points, and then the second one minuses 2 points. Each item needs its description, right? It needs a look description, and it needs maybe a get description. I think that would be because then if you, yeah, because now you can look, scroll. Oh, that's gonna be a tough one. Yeah, maybe I'll add that as a maybe, because you might need, right, you looking at it, and then once it happens, it needs to say something once you got it. That would be expected. So there's like a look. Oh yeah, I wanted to, 1 second. Okay. That might be enough to get going. Because we are going to struggle a little bit while we look up how to accept input in Ruby. I don't remember. We'll have to look at it. I know it's easy, or it's been a little while, but I know you can do it. If I click all of these and then move, nope, too much. If I do that, whoa, neato. Okay, there might be more. What if I just grab this one though? Does it? Ooh. I bet you could group too. I bet you can. Oh yeah, there it is. That's cool. Like, I think that's kind of it. I mean, we're gonna hit a little more, or there might be some more hidden things, but I think we're pretty darn close. So I don't know. So far we said, oh my goodness. See, don't. Told you. So far we've decided. Stop showing me that. Room. And an item. Those are all the things we have that we know of. All my windows are just a pixel off. Super great. And then we probably need like the main. The game is an object. It's not the thing running it. There's probably gonna be like a main. I don't know what the Ruby way would be for a command line game. There's probably like a command line framework that you can, like a gem that you can just install and it does all this, but I don't want to do that. So let's look really quick. Ruby command line stuff guy, the command line, not the Rails command line. Get command line input. I think each of my windows are just getting slowly bigger as each one peaks from underneath. I just keep like moving them. Command line arguments with argv. That sounds right. Ruby argv. Argv. I want the docs, not. I don't know. I don't want Code Academy. I want Ruby. Oh yeah, that argf is the class. Argf object works with the array at global variable argv to make standard in available. Beautiful. So how does it work? I mean, we can actually define all the stuff. We can define all the stuff on the class before we even worry about input. So that's another, we could go either way. Where is, am I just going crazy? argv read, open the Podbay doors, how? Pipe it into T. T does a print of, oh, okay, that's what's happening. It's like, what are you showing me right now? So argv, that are no arguments, but argf has the stream of everything that it read. Okay. Yeah, so if we do cat, it's interesting. Okay, it's catting the text and piping that into Ruby. What a confusing way to show me how to do that, right? Like, can't you just show me run a program? Actually, that might be a whole nother interesting thing. Keeping the terminal open in our script, right? Because it's like not actually finishing the script once you start it. Kind of like it'll be like some sort of loop or something. So not there yet. Let's just work on these classes. We can write up the commands. We can write up the error states. Each and maybe how that like config should look. I don't know. No, thank you for helping. So we'll have a game. I should make a. Let's make tests for all of these. You know what? Should I struggle with mini tests that I don't use at all, or use RSpec? That I actually do know. It's a question. Because like I have a key binding that automatically opens a spec file with the name. Let's do that maybe. Spec. That's not right. Get out of here, you. Rename specs. Rename game spec. So that should, I think it knows if I like, where does it want to put it? If it doesn't know, it's like a Rails, it's a Rails spec runner thing. So I might have to keep the same folder structure, like go out of, like it should be, these should be in the app folder and then I don't remember how it knows to traverse. So if that doesn't work, we might as well just open it by hand. But okay. So let us. Oh my God, I am blanking on the describe syntax. RSpec. How many times do you open a new file, right? Without just like, it's crazy how much you rely on. This isn't what I want. RSpec core expectations. I just want the docs, guys. Sure. Any of those is good. It's surprising how much you rely on like just existing prior art, knowing like, oh, I know this file, I just copy and paste. I copy and paste this every time. Like I never write the main like describe block for some reason by my off the top of my head. I just always like find a file that's pretty close to what I want and then just copy it. It's surprising how much that deters you or makes you struggle when you see an empty file and you're like, how do I even describe a game? Like, how does that even work? I think this will work. I don't need any of this. I couldn't remember. Is it a describe to start or do you open a class to start? I couldn't remember the initial. Does this work? Can we, Command H, Command J. I don't need you. Can we rspec spec gem install? I do all of my development in a cloud environment, so most things that on my actual computer aren't installed. So we could make a gem file for this. I could just install them globally until I need it. Until there's a bunch of stuff that I need, I'll probably just globally install everything. So can we run everything? Cannot load a file called spec. Well, that's true. There isn't one called spec. What did I name it? I named it specs. Did I mess something up in my editor? Is it so confused right now? What did I do? What's in here? CD specs. Okay, there's a spec. What's in here? Game spec. Okay. What are you doing, RSpec? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm inside specs now. I need a CD out. RSpec. That is not how you run specs. Specs. Game. Spec. Yeah, what? That is very curious. So we need to require game so that it knows what it is. Man, not being in Rails, there's a lot of magic that you get that you just really forget how everything works. Go away, you. Like manually requiring files. Ugh. Do I require relative? Do I require the module? Is it the name in a string form? Like, all that, you lose it all. Like where, like, you know where I did this actually, so that I don't have to struggle. I recently had to, I part of the exercise that I thought would help me do this was when I was doing Advent of Code stuff. I made a template for this. Oh, I used, of course. Oh yeah, so I just use the relative require. Oh yeah, I probably need to like require RSpec maybe or something. Whew, that does help. Um, I don't know if I actually need to do that. Require relative game. Let's see if this works without doing that. Oh, because I put it in the spec file. Holy cow. There we go. Yeah, so this is loading from, I think, my global space, right? Because I gem installed it globally. So obviously, if we, move to a different Ruby version, or things could get broken, but we're gonna fix that later or never. I don't know. Probably eventually we'll have a gem file for this, and then everything will be, nice and tidy. But just getting started. Should we? So we haven't really defined anything. What does a game have? Can we look at the same time? I'm gonna maybe scoot this behind me. So a game has its general commands, valid commands maybe. How do we want to define that? Well, let's get all the bits here working first. So in specs, let's add a new file. I'm doing this a terribly inefficient way, I know. Item spec, new file, player spec, new file. Okay. So now we can copy the game spec into each one of these. Doing that thing I just said caused me pain. I'm doing it again by pasting it. Not remembering. Maybe if I typed it 4 times, would I remember? I don't know. Player. Room. Okay. So now we should be able to run like all of them. If I just say, I said room in a funny way, and that made me type more than 1. Okay, uninitialized constant room. Okay, so now we've got to actually define these things. Okay, I want to close all this. So what are we missing? Oops. Room. Nope. Thank you for helping. And then item was the last one. Okay, so now if we go down here. Okay, 0 examples, but it's not exploding. Huzzah. We should just define. So let's start. What's the easiest one? An item. It's maybe a player or an item are gotta be the easiest. So an item has a description. So let's just adder readers, and we'll call it look get value or score. What do we call that? Oh, I don't even know. Score. Yeah. And when you initialize one, you give it a look, you give it a get, and you give it a score. Is it bugging anybody else that these are out of order? Bugs me. Okay. Oh, I was just talking to somebody about this. There should be a quick way, and maybe this would be bad, but I mean, for normal plain old Ruby objects, like how often do I just want, give me everything in the initialize and just set the ivars for me? Is there Is there an easy way that I don't know about to do this? Like, just no matter what you hand me, set some IVARs and then set some readers. Like, I want that all the time. I wish that I was debating making a module that I could include that's just called like auto IVARs or something. Okay. Is it even worth? Is it even worth like writing a spec that says add a reader works? That's what we're testing right now, right? If we start testing that item has a get and has a look and has a score, is that useful? I don't know. It adds lines to the program. It makes it maybe it's a false sense of security, but like, is that worth testing? Unless there's something that's computed down here, like maybe player score will be worth testing because it's like the sum of his items plus random acts that gave you points. But we could just for fun, kind of like sanity tests. I kind of like that. Like, what do we call it in the context? My context will be sanity checks. So describe. And then I don't know if it's RSpec convention or just something that my company does, but usually preface instance methods with a pound and then class methods with a period. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I don't know if like you should do that. I just have always done it, and I like it, so I'm keeping it. Go over here. Go over here. Oh, it already did that for me. Okay. Describe get. What should it do? It should exist. Normally I wouldn't make a subject block for a like single test. I'll just do it. Oh, but okay. Here's why. I'll show you. So if we make a subject and the subject is described instance, because we got to make that. So in our sanity checks, I'm going to let a described instance equal my describe. Described class dot new. We got to feed it some stuff. That's probably going to not fit all the way. Since this is all we're doing right now, why am I looking all the way on the edge of my screen here? So this is going to take a look and a get and a score, right? And then we can define all those either globally or just right in line. But I kind of like having them all split out. That way in another test, I could change it. And then my described instance doesn't ever have to change. And it's really nice. So we'll do stuff like this. And then the look is the look description. These are bad names. We're going to fix the names. So we're kind of just getting it on paper so that I know how bad it is. Sometimes I can't tell how bad something is until I look at it or use it. And then I'm like, oh man, like the ergonomics of, item.look is gross and I want to change it. So sometimes I don't know until I do it. So let's say it looketh really nice. And then the get will be, you got it, bud. And then the score, it's worth 10 points, right? Something like that. What are you mad at? Yeah, I didn't save. So now all we have to do is say that each of these subjects, look, get, score. Down, 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 down. Oops. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the top of the file a lot because it's where my down used to be, and now it's where my up is. Oof. Oh, that is get. Let's look. And that's score, right? So you can define the subjects like that. And then, I love this. You can just say it is expected to equal, look, right? This is a very almost useless test because all we're like, I guess we're just all we're checking is that I made IVARs and readers for each of these things. Like not totally, but again, sanity check. And we could probably actually, if I was gonna make a, if there were more of these, I would probably make some meta programming around that. I would define the readers and then just loop through and build describes that did the same thing. But this should work now, right? I don't know. Let's see. Ooh, we made a mistake. Look, get, score. Did I do them out of order in the item? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. See, that was actually helpful. Okay, back to here, run them. 3 examples, no failures. We did it. So, yay, right? Okay, cool. Not super exciting, but that just means item is done. We like know. Should I just do frozen string literals here? You gotta have that in every file now. Yeah, I did it. Oh, is it just literal? Yeah. Okay. That's gonna be fun to just add all over the place. Which one do we want to do next? Let's do player. Player sounds fun. We'll get a player. We'll get a player spec. Bonk. Get a player. Do you got frozen strings, playa? Yeah, you do. So what does a player get? Let's scroll over here. All we know about a player so far is that it has a list of items, and he has a score. He or she, they have a score. Initialize. Should you initialize with this? This one we can do a fun thing, right? You could you can just set some defaults there. It would be weird to create a player with not a score of 0, probably. Those are out of order though. Oh, do we? We could use keyword args. I think Sandy would like us to use keyword args. Then I wouldn't have messed up my item, you know? Should we go back? Let's go back. Let's be explicit here. Then we won't have to remember. Is it get, look, or score, or is it look, get, or score? I don't remember. You won't have to. And with Ruby 3.2, you don't have to include the argument if it matches the name, like JavaScript. It's beautiful. It's the one thing, or maybe that's ES6. It's the one thing that Ruby took that I like. Okay, better. Oh, missing a new line. Gotta fix all those squigglies. Oh my gosh, what are you mad at? I need a R doc. Yeah. What does this do? Item has 2 descriptions. One for looking and one for getting. It also contains a score to give. Let's make that on a new line. That should be attributed to the user, to the player, when they get it. Something like that. I don't know. Is it happy now? Huzzah. Okay. So we're filling it out. We're filling out some of these kind of base. Oh yeah, we said no more positional args. Get out of here. We still got to do this. Oh, but then we can do the default still. I went up. See, I went up. I told you. I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep on doing it. Items, score, scopper. And what's a player do? A player has a list of items. Ooh, yeah, and score. That's all we know. It's all it's in charge of. Oh, the score. Score based on actions and some of their items scores. Items. So we do need to know like total score versus, yeah. So in this case, maybe we want to override, right? We don't want the default. This will be the sum of score plus items dot sum their scores, right? That's what it really is. So let's, we got to do the sanity checks. And in this one, the sanity check is actually only the items because score is something special. So our sanity checks is just items. Just grab items. Ah. I swear I'm going to learn how to type someday. I actually started taking little typing lessons to learn how to touch type better. Because this is embarrassing sometimes. I just keep missing over and over, and I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So let's let some items. Ooh, we're gonna have to actually make. I like accidentally made items first, and now we get to use them. Oh, that works out so well. So item will be a list. And we need to let a score. Oh yeah, this will be cool. We can actually test. Oh, what is that? Sanity checks. No. You guys go here. Score is not a sanity check. So that, yeah. All we're checking is that if we open up item spec, all we're checking is that like the thing is defined. So let's grab an instance. Oops. Oh boy. Over, down. Oh, did it wrong. Okay. So what's cool is the score, we can just leave. We can just not pass it, and it should be 0. And then items, items just could be, ooh, we could actually do this. We could context defaults. Because a player can have defaults, but having an item that like doesn't have a description or doesn't have a score, maybe it could default to score 0, but I don't know. So let's describe items, and let's also describe score. Nope. the subject. Is that any better? Now I'm torn on whether I like having a separate subject line, because that would turn nope. Right, because we could just we could just turn these into one-liners, like it describe instance look, or yeah, expect describe instance look to equal, but I don't know. I'll show you both. Here's the other way we could do this. So instead of making a subject, you would just say it expect described instance dot items to equal something. Right. So you can fit it on one line, but then like all the expects are different shapes. Like all the the widths of all these are going to be different. So I do like that. Like these are all like very similar looking. I don't know. You can go either way. And then score to equal 0. And then we should be able to, let's just test the defaults. So let's test on 10. So specs, player. I don't know why it doesn't like me. Player spec had 2 failures on 16 and 12. Which are, that is where we're looking. Okay, expected array got nil. And what was it? Oh boy. We we made a boo-boo. We made a boo-boo. You can't do that. So, you know, little nuance, but you can't, right? This is a recursive call. The method score passing or calling itself over and over again with no base case. That means infinite loop. So we actually want to use, you know, normally not, you know, while we're inside the getter for score, right? It's allowed. So I'm talking to directly the instance variable score and then adding in the sum. I think it's allowed. I can't see. Sorry, I'm zooming for you guys, but it makes it hard to see a little bit. Okay, sum for nil. Items. So it's saying items was nil, which should not happen, but it is because when we make one, it's nothing. So I need to move this inside here. So now items should get the default. Oh, actually, let's pass nothing. Okay, it's gonna change. We'll need to duplicate this. So outside of sanity checks, I'll make a new one. So this one's a special described instance that doesn't have items or scores. It doesn't get them passed, so it will use the defaults. Since we're checking in defaults, I feel like that's okay. So let's check. Let's check line 8. Two passed and one failed. Which one failed? 24. Perfect. It should have only ran, that's weird. It should have only ran the tests in that context. So like because, oh, that's why. Yep, that'll do it. That'll do it. And now I realize I want this down here. Oops, go back. So in our sanity checks, we have a default context that only checks when new gets nothing, and then we can check items specifically with specific items. So we want to say item. We'll make it for real. We'll just make one. I usually don't like inlining that kind of stuff. New, and what does an item get? An item gets a get. You got it, right? You got it. It gets a look. You like it. And then it has a score of 10. And then we can say items is the item. Ooh, we should probably make a get item or a get item and maybe a use item method on a player. That probably makes sense. So now that we have 2 lines, I don't know why my brain was like, we should have a new line underneath subject. For some reason, I just saw that and that's what I wanted. We need to require the item. Can I, if I don't put in a path, does it know to go up? No, it's like, I'm looking in specs. Oh, because it's relative. If I just require item, does it know? Nope. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, bud. Okay. Gonna have to recall how Ruby requires work. But now we did something. Ooh, yeah. What did we get to? Undefined local method or variable score on 28. Into, oh, because we're expecting, I see. Do I? Okay, we're not going to pass score. So in the sanity checks, we're only going to check for items because score is not a sanity check. So it is special. So that way the score can default to 0 instead of being nil here. So I think that should work. So let's go back. We'll just do the whole player spec. There we go. So those 3 are done. We got our item check. We know that an item, if we make a new player and we pass it items, that those items will be the ones we passed. Pretty simple. Okay, so let's move out of sanity checks and we'll just describe score now because this one's special. Why are you helping me in such a weird way? So score has a couple cases, right? So it has when player has no score. Maybe. I'm going to keep doing that. Are these useful to check? So when a player has no score, then there's when a player has no items. And then there's when a player has neither. I guess has no score nor items. Could be useful. I'm not sure. Let's see. So we're going to make a player. So now we want our instance to always expect that it has items and a custom score, probably. So this will be easy, right? So we can then say let score. Oop. Find my 0. But it needs items. So we need to let items. Now that we need, this is cool. So now that we need items, right, in 2 places, I can just pop these out, put them above sanity checks. Kind of weird, but it is useful. Now we have access to those, and now, do I always want items to be that? Maybe. Could be. Because then here we only have to override items to be nothing. Even though there is a default, we can just say it's going to be empty. And then here we need both. Oops. I don't know. Making this up as I go, man. Does that make sense? Is that a good thing to test? The player has no. So let's say. So now this. Oh, this is cool. So now we can actually use the subject like it was intended to be used. We can say described instance dot score and share that with all of these. It is expected to be it's actually supposed to just be items dot sum score, but we could say 10, right? We know what the score of the item is. Sometimes that's nice to be like explicit. You're like 10, but then that becomes a magic number because you're like, oh, 10. Like if the spec file was really, really big, you might be like, where'd 10 come from? You're like scrolling for miles, and then you see like, oh, okay, well, it's just the score of the item, duh. Or if we had multiple items, you could, you might wonder like, oh, well, it says 100. I don't even see 100 anywhere. So it could be hard to find. So I think I would lean towards using the dynamic value. So this should just be when player has no items but does have a score. We need to give him a score. Score is going to be 10. So in this case, I just broke my own rule. But here it's really obvious, right? I don't know. Oh, I could just say score. You know what? Yeah, I could just say score. Let's do that. And then we have, so that does make me want to do this though. Even though it's in two places here, I do like how this looks because then you see them all. You're like, okay, score as something, items as nothing. And then here you can see there's none. Like that looks really nice. And then here, we should be able to say 0. 33, let's just test 33. There we go. Okay, should we prove more than one item? Is that important? We could. I could add the item twice, actually. When the player has no score, but has items. When the player has no items, but has score. Sure. I'm going to add more than one item. Now it's really honest that it does test both things. Okay. So we got a player. We got the score, we got that. I mean, it's crazy how many more lines, right? 56 lines to test 14. Like, whew, boy, does that feel tedious. But I don't know. Now we're free to, if this is the business logic of our game, if this is what kind of defines how the game works, we're free to change, or we'll know that if we change how scoring works, it's on purpose because now we're gonna have to fix the spec because that's broken, right? So this is, trying to convince you of TDD, trying to test drive your development. Why we need it? Oh, too many lines. I should probably. Can I ignore that? If a spec, there's probably a convention. I don't remember how to. I thought a fix usually listed was like add ignore to that. That's what I want to do. Add ignore. Okay. What I should be doing actually, I didn't even start this. I should be committing as I'm going here. But since I didn't get initial commit with item and player, slightly fleshed out. Okay. Yeah. Always want to keep track, right? Don't want to get too far without using some version control to know, like, oh crap, I broke something. Be able to go back and just see your notes, how you moved along. Ideally, right, would have like added a bunch of files, saved it, or commit, and then after each one, gone through. Let's do. Well, maybe we can get to the last two before we just have the main setup done. Let's do room next, because room I think is similar to player. It just has items and then commands. We didn't add get. Okay, we need to add maybe to here. Nope. We want to add maybe get items or get item. Does the player call get item? Does the game call get item? That'll be, yeah, something to think about. Who owns getting the item? Is it a player's action, or does the game say get item with a player and an item? Right, it could do this a bunch of ways. So that will be TBD, and then maybe even a use, because I think you can use. I don't know. Let's see. We'll see if that's useful. Question marks for us to think about. Okay. So now we're talking about rooms. Since a room has many items and commands, how close is... I mean, we can steal a little bit of this. Right, easy. A room doesn't have a score, though. It has commands. Room has its own commands, also probably empty. I don't know if it will be something special. It could be. The room is attached to the game, and then when you ask for the room's commands, it returns the game's commands with its own. That could be kind of cool, right? So you don't have to know, you don't have to add them together every time. You can just be like, I'm in a room. What are the things I can do? And it will automatically have all the game level stuff plus all the room level stuff. That could be kind of neat. So maybe we might want to change that, but we're just going to, this one feels like, again, some sanity. Oh, is commands? You're not allowed to do that? Oh, just unused. Also, I'm kind of a slave to alphabetizing things until it doesn't make sense. If it's only two, like, why would you not? I did it up here too, darn it. Right. Oops, too far. Okay. We need to add our stuff to make our linter happy. So a room may have items. It may not. It may have items and maybe, that was an accident, but I kind of like it. And maybe special commands outside of normal game commands. Okay. Could be true. Room spec. And then who's spec? I don't want to type all this over. Oh gosh. I don't want to type all that over again. Player spec. Let's see what we can steal from here. I'm just gonna right, how close is this? Sanity checks. Items, defaults. It's so right now it's the same. So there is no difference. We'll do commands. We need to make a list of a command. That's a thing. Oh, interesting. That'll need to be an object somewhere. Right? I don't even know what it does. I don't know what it does. It's over here, maybe? It's like a. Oh, where does this live? Because it is like a. It's both. Oh, come on. Come on. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's both a child and a sibling, and a. Too big. Too big. Okay. Command. Because that goes, a game has commands. They live there. But then also a room has commands too. So I don't know how to, should that just, it's like kind of down here. I don't know. It's like you little son of a gun. Okay. Let's scroll back. That's where are we at? We're at rooms. For now, we can just check the empty until we flesh out what a command actually is. Maybe we could just make a new one that's kind of just an empty object too, just to get these working. It doesn't really matter what they are, right? All we're really checking is that it knows it knows how to get them. So, oops. Commands. So by default, these commands, empty, items, empty. Items, this is not special anymore. Is it? This is still a sanity check. Okay, yeah. We will want to, we'll check passing it in. But it doesn't have this special score, so I can, because then this is just going to be the same. Commands, gets a command. I should have used a multi-cursor here, but we're doing it one at a time, I guess. Okay. Oops. Does that look right? So the defaults, we make a new class with nothing, and we expect to get empty arrays. Otherwise, commands has its own check, and items has its own check, and we just need to make a. What the heck is a command? Oops. I need to stop saying oops as I do it again. Okay, so command, that's interesting. I don't know what it is yet. It has a. Yeah, what does it do? I don't even know. We're just gonna. I don't know. It's gonna be nothing. It's gonna exist. We got to make one. Maybe it won't. Maybe it's just a string. But I feel like it needs to have something special in it. I don't know why. I wish new files just had that automatically. A command is something I don't know yet. A command provides the action. Yeah. Not totally sure. TBD. TBD. We might need this. Okay. Yeah. We'll just say it's a command. If it ends up just being, an enum on the game or something, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But right now, it's just going to be its own little object, making little objects. So that should just work, I think. Let's go down here. Oop. Okay, it got mad. Oh. Remember, gosh, that is something that is very hard to get used to because I never have to require Rails handles this. Any class you put anywhere just automatically gets imported or automatically required by the Zeitwerk in this point, the Zeitwerk loader. So this is just something I don't have to do ever, and it is hard to get used to. Just because I can make files all over the place and just expect their classes to exist. So we're mad at items. Yep. Nope. How come? Where are we at? 31. Oh. Oh, we do need items to exist. Just at because it's expecting to pass it in. We just need to pass nothing. And then same thing down here. Oop. Okay. There we go. We're good. We did it. Whew. Okay, room is done. Okay, let's see. What do we got? Add. Oh, yeah. So that wasn't what I wanted. It committed n. Okay, what did we do here? Added room specs. Or we actually fleshed out room a little bit. Fleshed out room with specs. Added command. Should probably put that with not a replace. Go away. Uh-oh. How come? Weird. Fleshed out room with specs. Added command. Class. With nothing. Empty. Empty command class. Empty command class. Okay. Who is left? I think game is now currently in command. Do we even make a command spec that does nothing? I mean, it's the same as this. Might as well leave it. We have it. It'll at least let me just go through every stinking file and add these in so that I don't get yelled at. You got it. You got it. You got it. Okay. You got it. I copied nothing. One of my favorites. Accidentally copying a line that has nothing, or empty line. Okay. And okay. So the last two question marks are this guy a game and what a command actually is, if we even need it. So game as the entry point. Game is going to have some things, right? So the main the main, we're gonna have main RB, and that's just the game runner. We could call it runner. We could, whatever call it, whatever we want to call it. But that's the thing in charge of printing and getting input from the CLI, so that we can do that like later. Um, the game is going to be in charge of getting in that config, that game config, converting that into all of the things we need, a bunch of rooms, a bunch of items, like actually making, like building the game, and then maybe even building a map. Like if we're going to use player position in the game, right? It could, given the config that has a list of rooms and their locations, it could be in charge of like, all right, I built the map for you. Like, and so we would maybe only need that if, if the directions were dynamic, because then you wouldn't even have to, right? If we go to here, right? There's in each of the cases, when you look, there's this line: obvious exits are something, something, and something. And I think that is repeated. Now this is special because this is maybe only in this game where this is the case. But if this was dynamic, that'd be kind of cool, right? Where the game would know, yeah, you went north, so your only exit is south. I know that because when I drew the grid, it was just a star, right? It's like north, south. It doesn't say where Dennis is. So that any direction could be Dennis. I guess he would be, or not Dennis is the other one. We might have to alias that for an actual direction if we were doing this like dynamic thing, right? Or if we don't actually create a grid that has, a player's location defines what room he's in, then we can do something more like, well, not like this, but it would be something where we just say, oh, they're in North Room now, and each room would have like a name that would either like some index in an array or some hash, right? Like we could have a hash map of rooms, and they all have titles, so you're in this room. Here are all the things you can do. Maybe. I like the idea of the map because I don't know. Then I think it was just a little more flexible. You can make up, like you could almost make it so you don't even really know where north and south, where the rooms are. You just kind of plot them, and then like the grid just kind of makes itself. That could be kind of fun. I don't know. That might make for like a bunch of empty. Like, what do you do about an empty space? What do you do if in your config you had a room here, and then your X and Y's are off, and now you've got just an empty space. What does it say? Does it just skip? Does it go through it? It probably would, but it would be something you'd have to handle. So, is that something we want to do? I don't know. Yeah. So I think we could flesh out game maybe a little, and then think some more. We're gonna have to think a little bit. So what does a game get? What is it initialized with? I think I want you to be able to inject the game, like the type of game. So maybe it has a self. It might have a class method that you can say like play. Right, and then there's a constant. There's a game or map. Maybe we call it map. I don't know. That might be a bad name to use. But then what it would do is it would call self.new, and it could pass the map in, or it's kind of a config. I want to like, because that'll not just have the map in it. That'll have the items and maybe some special rules or something. So play. Yeah, what do we call it? Maybe there's a game config object. And then it has a game defined on it. What's the code I want to write, right? This is like trying to think of like, I want to play, and this is like a cartridge. This is the map. This is all the rules, all the items. And this is kind of like the cartridge I want to play. I want to play game config thy dungeon man. So like, I don't know if that's a thing, but it's going to have a class method so that I can appease the. What are you mad at? Invalid formal argument cannot be a constant. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, we'll want to. Not sure how to do that right now. Let's set up our config. It's going to do a bunch of stuff, right? It needs to initialize a bunch of objects. Maybe it's all just, like at runtime, it builds it all. Like it's like, oh, what room are you supposed to be in? And it grabs that from the config and then makes a room out of it. It could do that too. Yeah, does the game need to do anything special? Or the game config? Like, is there a reason to have that object? I don't know. A game is in charge of building rooms and a player to play the game. It takes a config that describes the game to be played. Something like that, right? Yeah, so when we initialize with the config, we also need to make a player. Maybe we don't make a player until play. Because that could be like, here's our game, here's our player. We don't have a name. You're just an empty player. And then like, hello. Wow, that scared me. Good evening. The alert box noises, I don't think are coming through the stream, and I don't know how to make it work. I need to figure that out. But that totally startled me. Oh my gosh. Whew. Well, I know you've been watching for 10 minutes at least. Or no, I made it 0 again. Yeah, no, I had it set to be only allow chatters who have been watching for 10 minutes. But then I remember I changed it because then no one was talking. So then I was like, I need people chatting. Where are you at? Yeah. Yeah, I'm using Streamlabs, and it plays the sound in my head, and I can see it in like the mixer, but it doesn't. I don't think it actually is going through outwards for some reason. So, yeah. Anyway, welcome. Yeah, if you're just joining, have you been following along? Do you have any questions? What we're doing, where we're at. I am trying to figure out how to just lay out this game object currently. Oops. It'll probably be something like this. Like game.start and pass in the player, maybe. That way we can appease the... Oh yeah, you don't need that actually. That looks weird though. I don't know if you Ruby very much, but this looks weird. So do we worry about... Do we start worrying about how to get some input in here, or do we flesh out the command interface, what the config might look like? I mean, I was just imagining like, let's make like a dummy, or actually, since this will be like, this is more of a constant. This actually doesn't need to be a method. Dungeon man. Do you remember thy dungeon man, Mary Phillips? Anna? I don't know what you go by. MPA. Do you remember the Homestar Runner, Thy Dungeon Man? Did you ever play it? This is just going to be... freeze it. And then here... I don't know why I was getting mad at the config. I want to look... What is this? What are you telling me? Oops. Oh, I just command queued my VS Code. Sick. Yeah, what is... a formal argument? It's just a class with all it should matter is that it's a hash as far as it's concerned. It's really weird. I don't know if I've ever seen that. Oh, you are back. Yes. I asked if you had ever played Thy Dungeon Man, or if you remember it from Homestar Runner. This was a Flash game that, I don't know, 12 years ago, I made into a C++ app that I'm now trying to use. Sorry, I played a noise in my ear again. That I'm trying to use as a template to make a generic dungeon crawling framework. But this is the game. It's made to look like a super old text adventure. But yeah. Yeah, let me know if you have played it, because that would... It is... I mean, if not, you should go and play it, because there's... it's right here. But beware of spoilers, because I mean, we've already talked about it. If you haven't been here, we've already talked about it. But you know, looking at the whole game and all the actions and everything that's possible, trying to rebuild it in a you know, very much a you know, OOP style here. Yeah, I'm not sure why it is mad. I'm just going to call it config. Just to appease the linter. I don't know why it's doing that. What are you mad at now? Okay. I'm just going to start filling this out and see. Oh, yeah, we can't. That's why. So what does... yeah, it was a thing... Not freeform. It's... I mean, it's very tiny. It's like... I mean, if we look at the... if we look at the C++ version that I have, this is it. You can poke at it. It is not. This is very old. So please, I mean, judge me very hard. You should if you know C, because this is terrible. But like this is this is the original that I made. At least 11, probably more like 13 years ago, as a college project. So I'm just remaking this. You know, I have done it before in a very sloppy, you know, first try, first attempt, very, you know, before I've gained some experience. So I'm interested to go back and just see how I would do it different. And you can see here it's very procedural, very oh, thanks. Very just, you know, what I would normally call or what Sandy Metz, a very famous, or in my brain famous Ruby speaker, she's lovely. She would call this shameless green, which is like the first thing that works, right? Like, and that's kind of what this was. It was like, what's the dumbest thing I could do to get this thing working? And that's what this was, which is what I turned in as my assignment, because I didn't know any better. I didn't know you're supposed to go back and like fix this stuff. Like, you know, there's probably a better way to like normalize strings or something. I didn't know about that. So at the time it was just quick and dirty. It worked. So yeah, so this was a project I did a long time ago, and I thought it'd be fun to revisit it and see how I might do it today, and see mostly, yeah, see how I do it today, see how I do it in using objects, you know, using what I know now about object oriented development and application design things, and then if it is possible, you know, hoping to maybe not make it just work for this, but to make it, you know, you can plug in any game, any dungeon crawler. Maybe if you had a config that worked, you could plug in, you know, Zork into it and it would just work. Like, that would be really cool. I think that'd be a fun result of playing with this. So yeah, so in the main repo, there's like the whole list of the whole game. Like, it's very small. It's 4 rooms. There's like 8 items, or less. So just kind of, it's like a really nice template to use as a proof of concept. So just getting it, you know, this is the first stream of doing anything with it. So this is like basically what we have. A game has a player, has rooms, has an item. There's a command that maybe exists. I don't know yet. Still thinking about it. Yeah. Let me know if you have any, if there's a question that comes up. I kind of like, you know, the whole point of me talking out loud and doing this is to, oh, that's a great question. I don't know. Currently in the repo that I have, it's just called Dungeon Crawler in my code. Yeah. Like, the folder I named it is just called Dungeon Crawler. It'll probably, because it doesn't have to be a dungeon, it can just be a text adventure. It could be something with those words in it, but yeah, haven't decided yet. I'm currently standing. Yeah. My room is so tiny, like right behind me. It's maybe a foot away is my screen, so you can see behind me. So if I'm sitting, it's like right on me, so I kind of have to stand. Oh, how do I see what that would say? Where's my moderator? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, oh, I see. Yeah, this is how much I don't stream very much, obviously. This is my 3rd time. Your message was marked as possible profanity because of the acronym. So it is permitted in the chat. Yeah. That's hilarious. So yeah, that's where we're at. Oh, I know I said I wasn't going to do that, and I just did it. Um, yeah, I'm about at the 2 hour mark for today. So I think I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna try to do a couple hours tomorrow as well. Um, yeah, I mean, I hope to. That's kind of the whole point. Is like I want to learn as I'm exploring, and I want anyone who's watching to learn too. I do not have a Discord yet. I was thinking about it. I think that's the thing to do is like get a Discord so that people can interact and talk while you're not streaming. Um, so yeah, I can start one. Currently just Twitter or X. I used to have all of them, but don't post pictures of anything anymore. So yeah, if you want to talk to me, um, Twitter or here is probably the best. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it was something I knew I was thinking about doing, but until there was somebody to talk to, as you can see, I have 5 whole followers. So until there was people to talk to, I was deferring that decision until it became a request, and now that makes Twitter's just my name. Where's I think, does that work? Does it unfurl? Yeah, that's me. What else does this game config have in it? Now that I'm thinking about it, everything is kind of nested in a room. Or actually, you know what? It would be like, so each room. Oh yeah, it'd be something like this. Let's say. Learn how to type. Oh my goodness. So for this game, for Thy Dungeon Man, actually we could, if we nest this, then we can just call it config. It is a game. Doesn't need to. Oh, thanks. Looking forward to talking more. Yeah, let me know. I don't know where your Ruby's at, where your development's at, but yeah, let me know if I need to explain something further, if I just breeze over some syntax that is new or interesting. Oh yeah, 'cause how do you say not Dennis? Okay. This one's going to get interesting. Thanks. Oh yeah, totally. This is going to get interesting because some of the rooms you don't say the same name when you're going back to it, right? So like, yeah, that's kind of where the game needs to keep track of that stuff. Because when you go Dennis, takes you to Dennis. But to leave Dennis, you don't type south, you just type not Dennis. So that one's gonna be a little weird. A little edge case. Oh, talk, yeah. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So in the dentist room, there is a dentist, but it's not an item. And then there is an item that's on dentist, but you actually can't get it or take it. So you need to define. Ooh. Okay. Right. So like items is so for the dentist case, there are no items here, but there are things to look at. And there's valid like look targets. There's anything in an item is a valid get. Okay. I don't. Ugh. Yep. These are going to be out of order, and I'm going to have to be okay with it because. Tell me. I don't know what that emoji is. What does that mean? Ah. Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah, I definitely didn't recognize it. I thought it was like do like sit-ups or like am I doing need to do some squats? Each room needs its own set of things to look at, its own set of items to look at. And then that'll build. Oh yeah, so that means room. Ooh. Looks is a very bad name for this. We said commands. Where are we at? If we go down here. Right. This is where the command might come in handy. Otherwise, we're having to do like, what is a valid command here? Look something. Or those are the custom commands. Yeah, because what I want. Maybe it's not commands. Maybe the commands are only valid. Trying to not solve this too abstractly, but maybe the game defines all the valid commands, and then the room, right? A room can't do something. You can jump. Let's say jump is one. I don't think you should be able to only jump in a certain room, but only jumping works in a certain room. Like you could jump somewhere and it's just like you jumped. But then if you jump in the south room, it's like you jumped over the huge thing. Yeah, so maybe it's not a list of commands as it is like targets. I have to think about that a little more. I think there's enough. It's funny because it only feels like there's so many moving parts with right, like all we have. Here's our commands. Help. I mean, these are the same. They're just funny ways to say it. Dance should work in every room, even though it's not special. And then you have get. Here's a special one. Get dagger just always works in every room. Is that true? You go north. through the corridor. Get dagger. Yeah, okay. Go south. You go south back. Okay, let's go to Dennis and try to get the dagger again. Yeah. So like that is a global that works all the time. If you try to, so yeah. So maybe the room is kind of like an item that has like a look and a get sort of thing, like, right? Because every room needs to be able to look certain stuff. Like if it's like, if you describe the room and you're like, oh, I see, right? I think you can say look in general, and it just repeats the command. Okay, so let's go not Dennis. I think there's a room that has like, oh, what? Where am I? Exits are not Dennis. Go not Dennis. Did you just say not Dennis? Oh, it's so good. You don't type go not Dennis. You just type not Dennis. Wow. Right. So here there's a scroll that I can look at and I can get it, but there's some things I can only look at, I think. Like, can I like look chasm? It look is pretty, that's just a default. Oh, that was interesting. I think that's a special East buys a trinket. Look, trinket, trinky. Look, trinket. Quit looking. Just get it. Go north. Yeah, I thought there was a look that just like didn't do anything. You can just look at it. That's just the default. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, a room needs a list of items, but it also needs the list of like elements that you can look at. So I think commands is not correct. What's something that's in a room that you can't get but you can look at it? So it's not an item is something you can get. So it's not an item. Decoration? But Dennis is not a decoration. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna call it. I think decors. Okay, we're gonna call it decorations. Dennis is gonna be a decoration. Maybe there's a whole idea of another player, right? There could be other NPCs in the room, and Dennis is one. For right now, since all he does is because you can talk to him. Frick. You can talk to him. Who's blank? Your new boyfriend? Talk, Phil. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so man, that's a special, and I think you can just smell anything, and it has a default. So if we go back, gosh, he's the only one you can talk to, but it would make sense, right? If any room could have any number of NPCs in it, you want to talk to them. So I'm just going to say NPCs. And then we're going to have to make an NPC class that knows how to talk. Oh my gosh. Oh, that would be... Ooh, I just had an idea. The default. Why isn't that? Oh, NPCs. Right, for each of these error cases that I had originally, it just went through top to bottom. And so you had to check like every single case, like, do you respond to this? Do you respond to this? Do you respond to this? And if not, then it would say, look, error, right? Yeah, so right here. So like if you're in the main room and you say, look, now it has to check. Did you look scroll? Did you look a flask? Otherwise, you can't look there. And I think look error is just like it looketh pretty good. Oh. Look error. It looketh pretty awesome. But we can make it so that that thing just responds if like there's maybe a not global, but if everything inherits from something that's lookable or the default, maybe the room just has a default message. Oh man, so many ways. Okay, getting ahead. Don't think too far forward here. I think this is useful though, because we'll want to talk to NPCs, and then decorations are items that you can't get. They just look. So then the room has to know what decoration it has, so what you're talking to. I think that makes sense. LMNOP, NPCs. Now we have two more classes to make. Okay. I'm not gonna make them until we need them, I think. But if we list out, we should actually, it might help us to kind of list out each thing in every room, and that'll kind of tell us like, are we handling that case right? So here's our rooms. I should put them in maybe order that you can go. So main room. Okay, so I'm gonna scooch this. Can I scooch this behind me so I can see it? Let's go here. Okay, so here's all the stuff we can do in the main room. Oh, it has a main. Oh, okay. Oh, did we not add that? We didn't add that. Oh, okay. Each room needs a description. And you have to include it. There's no default description. You have to include it. Wrong button. It's going to be like, no, you should put all, yeah, optionals go at the end. I knew it. Again, for my want of alphabetization thwarted by my linter. I'm more of a slave to my linter than my alphabetization. Oops. Okay. So, yeah, a room needs a script. We totally missed that. That was like, that's huge. Oh, but this one I can alphabetize. Oh, come on. Is that worse? Are you like why are these different than the other one? If you hate it, I'll switch it back. Yeah, so here's the main room. Is that the full main room? Nope. Go here. Because there's a north. Come on. Oh yeah. So but the main room only says this if you come back, I think. right? It doesn't print out that initial title screen. So if I look, you find yourself in yon dungeon, right? That's the main. Yeah. Okay. So there's like title text here. That's the special case. The first time you enter the room, it needs this, but then after that, it only needs this. So, whew. Okay, so let's say name, description. And here's the description. Is that going to be annoying to like? Gonna have to put these on new lines. Ah. Where am I going, guys? Where am I going? Okay. Ew, fix my lines, please. Okay, can I fix all these at once? PD. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Oh, you made me mess up. I had these all highlighted. Oh, I did the wrong thing anyway, so there. Oh, there. Oh. You actually know. You know this, P. Daniel. Do you remember Thy Dungeon Man from Homestar Runner? Oh, stop hitting the wrong key. Wrong key. Mother of pearl. So many new lines. Okay. We're getting the config in order. Yeah, do you remember this? Let's go over here. This guy. They apparently they have the Ruffle project. I don't even know what this is, but apparently it's a Flash emulator, so you can play Flash stuff again. Yeah, so years and years ago, I made a C++ version of this, just based off of like their wiki, like based off there's a Dungeon Man wiki somewhere. And so in college, I remade it in C++, and now I'm trying to make it in Ruby and making it if I made it today instead of 13 years ago. So that's what we're doing. That's what I've been doing I just started it today. So we're 2.5 hours in. Yeah, it's so funny. Like it's a tiny little thing, but it's so funny. Like just all the fun jokes. Go. I don't know if you just type anything. We can go west. Right, thou cannot go there. Yeah, like look up. It just says like a pretty. It's so funny. Yeah. I gotta remember to like open up chat so when I laugh or like am talking to nobody that when you watch this later you can go, oh yeah, that's what he was laughing at. I don't know why I have that open the whole time. I don't need it. So yeah, so far we've thought of ideas for what an item is, what a player is or has. We changed our mind on what a room could have. And it went back to the game. Game is like one of our main objects that kind of starts this whole thing. And this is how I want it to look eventually. So I want there to be, I didn't mean to click that. So like items. Oh, this could get really yucky because it's all going to be like just a big hash with arrays and other hashes in it. But I think it would be cool if you didn't have to know like, you didn't have to make an item object right here. So there's two ways you could do this. You could be like item. You could be in charge as the config maker to make a new item that has a score of 10 and a look of it looketh great and whatever. Or you just provide the hash. I think that's what I want. So it'll be like this. It'll make it cleaner. So what is the score? Parchment, definitely parchment. I'd recognize it anywhere. And you can get it. It needs a name. Oh, we didn't even name it. Okay. Scroll. It's worth, I don't know what the points are. It doesn't say the point. Oh, it's not, there's points. Oh yeah, you get 1. That's worth 2. And when you look at it, it says that. And then when you get it, it says something else. It first says this. You take the scroll, beware, danger awaits to the dash. Is that what it says? Where's the scroll? Go north. Oh, where's the, oh, it's in the main room. Go south. Yeah, look, scroll, parchment, definitely parchment. Get, scroll. Okay, so it says this whole thing. Got it. We'll work on formatting and stuff later. So you get 2 points. I'm gonna have to like nest these all crazy. Ugh. But it'll be better to see. It'll be better. Okay. Yep. Welcome back. Mary's back. Lurking's fine, right? Okay, cleaning up all this stuff. So, what does this say? Oh, this is mad because there are no reason to use double quotes. That's why that one's mad. So this is kind of going to be the layout, I think. So let's see. Look, flask. You can also get the flask. Oh, interesting. And it adds 1 point. Okay, I think this might work. Okay. I wonder, because this, right? We remember I said like, what if we made it so if we do like a find, if we say like items find to scroll, it's going to pick the first one. So as long as the order is specific, right? As long as this one is always first, which if we want it to be, we could make some other key that's like a position or something. But as long as we put it here, it's going to be there. So then if you get the scroll again, it'll say this, right? So then get is score is worth -1. And then it says that instead. And what happens if you look the scroll after you get it? Oh, yeah, it says that. So even after you get it, right, initially here, it says it's gone. Oops. So then if you look again, it says that. And if you try to get it, it subtracts a point. But if you look it, it's fine. This could totally work. This is... oops. Period. Okay. And then what things in the main room, is there anything in the main room that you can look at but you can't get? I don't think so. There's the scroll, there's the flask, and that's it. And then you have all your exits. So looking, I don't even know what to call descriptions, decorations. Are we calling these decorations? We're calling these decorations. And then we also say NPCs. We're going to be explicit right now and say that there's none. It'll probably just default to nothing though. Like you don't have to do that. And then how do we tell it? So this is where we can decide, right? If this is the data we want to send in, we have to decide. Oh, we need Flask. I forgot. We do need to decide if we want to use if we want to use positions, like if this room actually has a X and a Y, or does it have links to other rooms? So we could put like exits, and then we could put, ooh, that's kind of cool too. Then we don't have to worry about it's all relative positioning instead of like absolute positioning. That does sound nice. I'm going to start with that. It's not as flexible because then it doesn't like build a grid. You just kind of, it's like go-tos. You're just like, I'm in Maine, I go to north. I'm in Maine, I go to south. And as long as it's not in your list of exits, you can't go there. So I think that works. Where was I at? Flask. We're adding Flask. So in our list of items, now we have a flask. And it says we have flasks 3 times. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. So does this... When you try to get it, it does add a point. Okay. Can I close this thing? I can just open the README. That's better. And then maybe make you not so big. Yeah. Okay. So getting the flask, it says you cannot get the flask. Well, but it's worth 1. So the first 2 times, it's worth 1. When you get it, it does that. When you get it the second time, it does the same thing. And then when you get it again, it finally does something. Okay. Oh, and then you die. Oh, amazing. Okay, so if you try to get it a third time, you lose. That's amazing. Your score was blank. Here's where we put in a score. Oh. Okay. Well, I have to think about that. That's another... What are you mad at? Oh. And then what does looking at the flask do? It looks like you could quaff some serious meat out of that thing. The third time, I think you just die. So I don't think, once you do this, you'll, is that, I might need it. Because if we pop those off, right? If you look once, we pop that off, boom, you get a point. Or you keep it. You look again, you get a point. And then you look again. I think it still needs to say it. Yeah. Okay. Does it say, and you get minus 1,000? It's funny that you get a couple. You get 2 for looking at it the first 2 times, and then they minus 1,000. That's really funny. Great job, Homestar. And then no decorations. Yeah. So that's the whole main room. So basically we need to we're turning this config into the game. Rooms now have a description. Items need a name. Oh, we didn't add that. Item needs a LMNB. Oh, this is going to break all of our tests. That's the backwards way. Oops. Okay. So items have names now. A room has a description now and decorations and NPCs. Oh my God. And then, okay. I guess we could probably just call these. We don't need to like capitalize. Ooh, yeah. This is what we needed. And maybe that's a good case for the special command, because only in the dentist room is not a command, which is, or can you just type north? Sorry, I didn't mean to do that again. Can you, while you're playing, can you just type south? Oh, you can. North. So you don't even have to type go. Like the directions are also, you don't need to include go as the command, which is I think why Dennis, the exits are not Dennis. You can't say go, not Dennis. Oops. Go, not Dennis. Yeah. It's just not. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So if we collapse the items, oops, mother of pearl. I think we need an exits. Let's just do that. Let's just do it like this for right now. North, south, and Dennis, I think. Is that right? Yep. What do you want? What do you want me to do? How is that not a quick fix? You can't do that for me? Come on. Fine. I'll do it myself. What if they weren't always going to be strings? Okay. How are you still mad? What? Oh, okay. Use square brackets. Mother. I told you I'm going to be doing that. That top one just gets me every time. Okay, let's just I'm going to fill this out. And then I think I need to take a little break. But I want to fill out the whole config, and then we can pause after that. So we did the main room. Now in north, here's the north, because then we can actually print this like dynamically based on obvious exits. So I think that line, because I think it's always last. Maybe besides in the dentist room. Description. Okay. And what items? Okay, here we have looks that you can't get. Oh, yeah. So decorations. Where's decorations? Oh no. Down. Down. I changed it from looks to decorations. Let's just fix that now. Whoa. Why'd you do that? So confused. It was so mad just for that comma. Okay. So decorations. Ooh, now we have a thing. Oh. Mother of pearl. I'm going to keep I'm so sorry. I keep doing it. Parapets. And they have a description of, well, they're parapets. This much we know for sure. Oh. Good reason to use doubles now. And that's the only decoration. But we do have an item. Can we copy an item description? Sure. Let's copy that. Close that. What is it? Oop. It's a rope. How many points is it worth? Oh, you die. Oh, I forgot about this game. So you grab the rope. You can look at it. By the name of it, you should probably know that it's not really safe. And then you die. I wonder why I turned off dying on mine. I for some reason I commented out that you could die. Or maybe it was because you can't die in those rooms. Like dying and dancing for some reason. Can you die somewhere else? Find die. Yeah, no. I made it so you can't die. Maybe I was having a hard time with restarting the whole game loop like over again. It looked like I could try. I was doing it. But for some reason, yeah, you can't die. I turned it off. Okay. So you can grab the rope. Might as well new line these while we're here. Make it look symmetrical. And that's the north room. Oh, exits. Okay, come on. We're almost done. We almost got it. The only exit. Bless you. I'm so sorry. Was south. He snuck up on me. South room. Okay, moving on. We got a description. Do I have that? Let's just copy this whole thing because whoa. I did that wrong. Okay, that. Copy that. Yep. Copy that. Yep. South room. I don't really have a good Like, I don't want to make another dungeon game like myself, but I'm interested to see if it can be reused for, like, I don't have one in my head that I want to make, but I'm interested to see if after this is over, we can make a different game that is like similar. Like, I mean, it has to be kind of short, maybe not too crazy, but um, if you're like battling an enemy, keeping track of health in the combat could probably be, just a little extra thing, but I don't know. I think it could be cool. Um, South. Okay, so we have a trinket. Oh, interesting. There's special. This one is special. There's instructions. Okay, so items. We have a trinket. It's worth 2 points. Are we in the right one? This is Dennis. We're not doing you yet. We're done with North. We're done with Maine. Okay, so the trinket is worth 2. When you look at it, it says quit looking already. Quit looking. Just get it. And then when you get it the first time, you shove the trinket in your pouch hole. It kind of hurts. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. It's so good. Why did it do that? That's interesting. So if you say look before you get the trinket, there's a special message. You stand yourself. And then after you get it, you don't see this message. Okay. That's going to be a special case I think we'll have to think about later. But you can get it if you try to look at it after you get it. Okay, so there's another trinket that's worth -1, I think, because if you try to get it after you get it, yeah. So if you look, oh boy. If you look at it, you get that, and then if you try to get it, that happens. And then these are gonna need, right? Because we're gonna make it so that well, as long as it's the last one, I think, yeah, we'll have to make a special key that says like you can't get it and it still minuses the score. Oh, maybe it becomes a decoration. That could be interesting. So if instead of it being an item, that after you get it, like it adds to your inventory, adds to the player's items. On this one, it becomes a decoration instead, and then we'll have the room when you're like, hey, get thing, it checks its items first, and if it's not there, then it checks decorations. And maybe that's a cool way to like have it always respond with the same message and not have like infinity. Actually, that's what's going to have to happen like with dagger, right? Is we're going to have to say get dagger, and instead of me adding an infinite number of daggers to the items, it could just be a decoration that's in every room. Ooh, but you can't get okay. Yeah. It could work, but it might be conflating the idea, or it might make it a little more squishy, but I'll leave it in items for now. Okay, so decorations. There's the special look and help after you try to get the trinket more than once. Okay. So that's going to be based on some player state or or the number of items, maybe, like if it knows. So that's going to be a little more dynamic. We'll have to think of that a little later. So south should be good. Now we're on Dennis. You arrive at Dennis. He sports a sporty frock coat and a long jimber jam. Okay. Not Dennis. And you. Okay. Won't be mad. Oh, and an NPC. Yeah. We got one. It's the only time we get to use it, but it could be useful. So his name is Dennis. So he talks, right? So that's why we had to make him. So you can look at him. Oh, and look. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So look when you're in a room. We'll have to go through. Do I have an item that is like that? Do I have a decoration that has that? Is there an NPC with that name? And they all can respond with some sort of description. Oh, why am I calling these look? It should be a description. Come on. Let's fix that. Look, colon. I'm just gonna globally replace that with description. Because that's embarrassing. Okay. Yeah, because then, oh man, these can be, right, like I don't have to know what it is I'm looking at. I can just say, hey, does that thing respond to description? And then it will return the description. This will be good. Oh man. Okay, so we can look at the description. The Jimber Jam is not an NPC. I think it's a decoration, even though it's on Dennis. I think like technically. Oh, did I leave the parapets on the south? What are you mad at? Yeah, the south doesn't have parapets, just the north does. Okay. And then this is the Jimber Jam. Jimber Jam. Man, that art a nice Jimber Jam. So this room actually has one of everything. It has the items. Oh, it has no rope. Darn it. I thought I had everything. Did it again. I'll get it someday. Okay. So Dennis has no items. When you talk, you can just say talk. Oh. I guess that can respond. I guess that can just send to any NPC in the room, right? If we go to Dennis. Where am I? Oh, we're at Dennis. So if I just say talk, it talks. Okay. Yeah, so the talking command, we'll just have to look through, hey, who's in my room? Can I say talk Dennis? Yeah. What if I say talk anything else? Talk north. Oh, okay. Yeah. Great. So if it doesn't find an NPC with that name, or it'll just pick the first one, otherwise it returns that default talk error. So what does he say when you speak? So what should that be? Response? Description? Responses? I mean, if this is a deeper game, you're gonna need to like be able to converse and have responses to questions or to different statements. So this could maybe even be a hash of, valid keywords that I'm looking for when you say talk to me, and then how I'll respond to it. That could get pretty crazy, but you could just define it all in. What if I say talk Dennis again? Perfect. Easy. Doesn't do anything special. And then we need to be able to give. So things that they will take. So an NPC needs to have, it's only Dennis. So I'm like making up the stuff for anybody, but what they would say, it's like their response to actions. Give, point this item, because give trinket could be like use trinket. And that's just in the room. So giving will have to do the similar thing that like talking does, where it's like, I'm just going to scan the room. The first NPC I find, unless you tell me who it is, that's who I'm going to give it to. So, is that the room's job or Dennis's job? Because it could be like this, right? It could be like talk. This will be, this will be a hash. And you can either talk to him. I don't think I know how I want this to work yet, but it could be something like this. And as long as the give is a trinket, I'm not sure. It's going to be something like that. Without actually having it. Oh yeah. So maybe that is more knowledge of the room would know, or the game would know, like, you don't have that. Okay. Yeah. We'll have to encode that somewhere else, because I don't think it belongs on Dennis. I don't think he knows. I think the game knows. I think that's good enough for today. We did a whole bunch. We got, what is this mad about? Oh, too many lines. That's fine. This is just the config for this entire game. At some point when we go to play it, we're going to pass that in to our game player that knows how to turn all that stuff into objects that know how to talk to each other. And it's going to take a player. I'm not going to fix the specs right now, but those are all broken. I'm going to leave it broken. That'll help, because if we run the specs, there's going to be some busted ones. So that's good for us. Things are broken. We need to fix those. So cool. Well, thank you. Any of those who joined, new followers, thank you so much for coming, and I'll talk to you later.